Way back in 2000, a strange yet highly addictive show called Survivor debuted on CBS. It's since produced many memorable heroes and villains among the hundreds of participants, the latter of whom tried to lie, cheat, and steal their way to the top. We bring you the shadiest contestants on Survivor. In Survivor Island of the Idols, talent manager Dan Spilo lasted 36 days before leaving the island. His tribe didn't vote him out. Instead, for the first time ever, producers removed a contestant from the competition. The trouble started on the first day of filming when contestant Kelly Kim accused Spilo of inappropriate touching. Complaints continued weeks later, and eventually, enough was enough, and a simple message appeared on screen. Dan was removed from the game after a report of another incident, which happened off-camera and did not involve a player. After the episode aired, Kim took to Twitter, writing, "As Survivor fans know, shortly after I spoke up on camera, I was voted off the show. While I wish many things had gone differently, I'm glad that my decision to speak up made a difference." According to People, Spilo reportedly intended to discuss his actions at the reunion show, but wasn't invited. Instead, Spilo issued an apology to the publication. "I am deeply sorry for how my actions affected Kelly during the taping of this season of Survivor. I truly regret that anyone was made to feel uncomfortable by my behavior." Fans might remember a similar issue from years earlier involving Survivor's first ever winner, Richard Hatch. During Survivor All-Stars, fellow Season 1 star Sue Hawk claimed Hatch acted inappropriately toward her. During a challenge, the notoriously naked Hatch appeared to brush up against Hawk. She later alleged to host Jeff Probst,
"I was violated, humiliated, dehumanized, and totally spent, Jeff."
The situation distressed Hawk so much that she voluntarily left the game. In contrast with Spilo, Hatch was not kicked off the show due to his behavior, and later tweeted out in 2019 that he still had no regrets for having played so much of the game nude. Hatch also made news when he was arrested not once, but twice for tax evasion. Hatch served time behind bars for failing to pay taxes on his $1 million earned for winning Survivor. After his first stint in jail, Hatch was then arrested for violating prison media access rules. All in all, he spent a total of 51 months in federal prison. When Jeff Varner, a contestant on Survivor Game Changers, faced elimination at Tribal, he attempted to torpedo another player in order to stay in the game. Varner openly asked why his fellow contestant Zeke Smith hadn't told the rest of the players that he's transgender. In addition to outing Smith, Varner insinuated that Smith had withheld his gender identity to deceive the others. Everyone at that tribal council was understandably shocked and appalled, leading host Jeff Probst to say what everyone was thinking.
"There's no question who's going home tonight, right?"
No, sure.
After an immediate consensus, Probst told Varner,
"We don't need to vote. Just grab your torch."
After the dust settled, Smith opened up about the scene in a guest column written for The Hollywood Reporter. Smith wrote, "Forgiveness does not require friendship. Forgiveness does not require forgetting or excusing his actions." For his part, Varner apologized via Instagram, but was fired from his job amid the backlash. During Survivor the Australian Outback, Colby Donaldson had a little too much fun that got him into some hot water. Donaldson and fellow player Jerry Manthe won a reward challenge that let them fly to Russell Island on the Great Barrier Reef in a helicopter for lunch. Donaldson then brought back a few pieces of coral for those back at camp. That trip might have been fun for Donaldson, but it wasn't good for the environment. A spokeswoman for the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority listed the infractions. One is they flew a helicopter around seabird rookeries. It is classified as a particularly sensitive area. And the second is the collecting of coral. The general rule is that you cannot collect coral from any site in the Great Barrier Reef. Luckily for Donaldson, the incident didn't necessarily hurt his post-Survivor career, as the reality star went on to host 5 seasons of the History Channel's Top Shot. Two-time competitor Colton Cumbie first participated in Survivor One World, but was soon perceived as an entitled racist over his comments toward fellow player Bill Posley. In that season, the medical staff pulled Cumbie from the game over what he originally called appendicitis, but later admitted was actually a, quote, severe bacterial infection. Despite the early exit, his controversial reputation stayed. Cumbie told E! Online, "When you watch the show, you think I'm evil, but in my personal life, there haven't been any people who have attacked me. They all say, you're really not like you are in television." Prior to his second appearance on Survivor Blood vs. Water, Cumbie told Entertainment Weekly, "Last time I was completely erratic and filled with hate and anger, and I had kind of adapted this mentality of bite before bitten. Perhaps he had a change of heart. However, Cumbie abruptly decided to quit for a second time mid-season, which sent host Jeff Probst over the edge. Probst had harsh words for Cumbie.
Lots of people like to watch adventure. It doesn't necessarily mean they really should get up off the couch. And I'm now convinced that Colton is the guy who never should have got up off the couch.
Probst then told Colton to keep his buff.
I won't give you the honor of throwing that in the urn. We'll keep that reserved for people who compete. Grab your stuff, head out, boat will pick you up.
In the 28th season of Survivor, Jatia Taylor built a reputation for being bossy and mean, but she told TV Guide that she had no regrets for her style of play. But in a moment of frustration, she targeted one of her tribe mates, Garrett Adelstein, and created an unprecedented moment in Survivor history. She told TV Guide, "I really wanted to hurt Garrett. Garrett was always talking about how he wanted to eat, and everybody else I didn't really care about because they all just said that they'd vote me out. So I threw the rice in the fire." Yes, almost the entire supply of rice given to the entire tribe, which was its main source of food on the island. Amazingly, Taylor was not immediately voted off, but failed to make it much farther. After the fact, Taylor completely understood why her peers voted her off the island, but justified her infamous rice throwing to people, saying, "Let me clear something up. Rice was not all we were eating. We had coconuts and bananas. We were boiling crabs. We weren't starving." According to his CBS bio, Russell Hantz was, quote, "one of the most notorious villains to ever play Survivor. This self-made millionaire used any means necessary to advance in the game, a strategy that nearly led to him winning the grand prize." Hantz made the finals in his first 2 seasons, Survivor Samoa and Survivor Heroes vs. Villains. However, his third attempt on Survivor Redemption Island saw him as the first of his tribe to be voted out of the game. Throughout his 3 appearances, Hantz earned a villainous reputation, as Entertainment Weekly hypothesized. That might be due to the fact that he secretly emptied his tribe mates' canteens and burned their socks. Or it could be due to the fact that he lied about being a Hurricane Katrina survivor to garner some extra sympathy from his tribe. Those seem like pretty good reasons to dislike him. As the nephew of the Survivor superstar Russell Hantz, Brandon Hantz had big shoes to fill when he first appeared on Survivor South Pacific. According to Entertainment Weekly, it didn't go so well. They wrote, "Hantz was portrayed as a leering pervert who could not handle his sexual attraction to another contestant, an unstable entity that would pop off at tribal council for no reason, and finally, a rube who could get suckered into giving away his immunity only to be immediately voted off after doing so." In spite of this, Hantz returned for a second time for the 26th season of Survivor. In his next attempt for the $1 million prize, Hantz appeared to completely snap. Hantz argued with his tribe at camp and dumped the rice and bean supply. At the next immunity challenge, his tribe refused to compete and just wanted to vote Hantz out. Hantz turned hostile, prompting Jeff Probst to hold a verbal tribal council right then, which sent Hantz home. Ever since Survivor premiered, a standard strategy to further one's gameplay has been lying. But in Survivor Pearl Islands, John Dalton, who's better known as Jonny Fairplay, fabricated what may be the most sinister lie ever on the show. Fairplay and his friend Dan concocted a scheme prior to filming. During the Loved Ones episode, when visitors reunite with contestants, Dan would break the news that Fairplay's grandmother passed away. When the episode premiered, viewers and the tribe empathized with the visibly distraught Fairplay. Then, back at camp, the 2 friends laughed, and John dropped the bomb.
That was a brilliant performance, sir.
Afterwards, Fairplay revealed in a confessional,
"My grandmother's sitting home watching Jerry Springer right now."
In an article penned by Jeff Probst for Watch magazine, he named Fairplay's dead grandma lie in his top 10 favorite moments in Survivor, writing, "Everybody believed him, including me, and what made it so delicious was that he was the most disliked person on the beach." Delicious indeed, as the Waterworks likely bought Fairplay extra time on the series. Fairplay's knack for theatrics translated outside of life on the island. After Survivor, Fairplay became a pro wrestler, but it's doubtful he could use the dead grandma lie again to hide from a body slam. Peih-Gee Law first competed in Survivor China and made it to 5th place. Gone but not forgotten, fans voted her back for a second chance on the 31st season, Survivor Cambodia. This time around, Law had experience and decided to turn her hobby into an advantage. As she explained in an interview with She Knows, producers allowed luxury items to contestants during her first season. For Law, this was a jewelry making kit. Though she couldn't bring the kit along during her second appearance, Law already had another idea. "I had taken fish hooks that I gold-plated and made them with gemstones and stuff like that. I had fish hook earrings." Pretty sneaky stuff. She even attempted to turn her clothing into functional pieces, admitting, "I had a piece of flint that I had sewed onto my cardigan as a button." Unfortunately for Law, the flint button was caught by producers. Maybe it would have helped, but Law sadly became the third person voted off in Cambodia. During her time on Survivor China, audiences learned that fan favorite Denise Martin worked in a school cafeteria, which earned her the nickname Lunch Lady. During the Survivor China reunion, fan favorite Denise Martin shared some surprising news. Martin implied that she'd been demoted to janitor when she returned from filming Survivor, saying the school didn't give me my job back. Of course, fans were horrified by the news. Before the live episode even ended, executive producer Mark Burnett promised Martin $50,000 to hopefully get her life back. It was a heartwarming moment for everyone, except those at her school district. In reality, Martin transferred, at her own request, from the $7.35 an hour cafeteria job to a $17 an hour custodial position before leaving to film Survivor. When she came back, she asked to transfer back to the cafeteria, where no positions were open at the time. To her credit, Martin immediately asked CBS to donate that $50,000 promise to Elizabeth Glasser Pediatric AIDS Foundation. Shane Powers earned his grumpy but lovable reputation during his appearance on Survivor Panama. According to the New York Post, his mood swings, wild behavior, and villainous tendencies may have stemmed from nicotine withdrawal. After his run came to an end, Powers claimed that editors had altered his actual personality during an interview on The Early Show. "I think you gain an amazing amount of perspective from being on the show. It's like you're civilized, and then they turn you into a caveman." While you contemplate whether Powers was a hero or a villain, let's catch up with the man himself. A Los Angeles-based radio host off the island, Powers was later photographed nude in an odd photo shoot at the, quote, lowest point in his life. Thankfully doing better these days, he's since collaborated with rapper Tyler the Creator, appearing as an angry golfer in his Tamale music video. He even provided backing vocals on a few songs on the Grammy-nominated album Flower Boy. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite celebrities are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.